Hello vinyl collectors. Today the group I pulled from my collection is The Ventures. So The Ventures is an instrumental band that formed in 1958 in Tacoma, Washington. Over the course of their history, they've sold around 100 million albums. It's quite significant. And in 2008 they were introduced into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The original members were Don Wilson and Bob Ogle, and they were originally going to call themselves the Versatones, but they found out that name was already in use, so they ended up going with The Ventures. So they eventually got Nokie Edwards on bass, and then so you had Bogle on lead, Wilson on rhythm, Edwards on bass, and then they got a drummer named Skip Moore. What happened though with Skip was a bit interesting. He was with the group in the early days when they started recording their first album, which was like Walk Don't Run. And he elected to work at his family's gas station instead. So he decided to be paid outright for his work in the studio rather than taking royalties. So he was paid $25 for his work on this album. Big mistake. So the album was a huge seller, and he eventually tried to sue for royalties, but because of the contract that he had signed to opt out for $25, he didn't get a cent. Well, that's the way it goes. Anyways, after Skip left, there was another drummer named George Babbitt, and he was too young to play in the nightclubs, and so eventually he had to leave too. Interestingly, he went on to become a general in the American Armed Forces. So after that, they hired another drummer named Howie Johnson, who was on for the first 4 albums and a few tracks on the 5th album, at which point he decided to leave to spend more time with his family, and that's when Mel Taylor came on board. Of course, Mel stayed with the group for many, many years, eventually being replaced by his son when health reasons caused Mel to leave the group. And also Mel did do an album on his own as well. So anyway, one other fact about the Ventures before we start looking at the albums is they started out playing Fender guitars, but then they signed a contract with Mosrite guitars in California. And what you'll see on a number of their albums, let me just get one out here. Let me just see if I can find it. It's right down here, right in the corner. You'll see on many of the albums from around 1963 to 1968. The Ventures use only the Mosrite guitar, and Mosrite, California, Highline Avenue, Los Angeles, California. So that's, I guess, a deal that they had, and so they used specifically those guitars from 63 to 68. I guess once the contract ran out, we switched back to Fender guitars again. So they put out something like 38 albums. I don't have them all, but I got enough here that I can't lift them all up in one group. So one other little interesting. So you'll see in the early days, most of the albums were on the Dolton label, which was originally called, I think, the Dolphin label, but that name had already been used. So the owners had to switch to Dolton, and then they were bought out eventually by Liberty. And so the last single and the last LP to be pressed on the Dolton label were Venture LPs. The single was Theme from Wild Angels, and the LP was Guitar Freakout, which I think I have in my collection and I'll show. So anyway, we'll have a look at some of these albums. There's so many of them, I gotta keep a little chart here. I don't have them all, but I'll show you ones I have. So 1960 was Walk Don't Run, their debut album. Also, on the cover, that is not the band. The band couldn't make it to the photo session, and so it was record label employees had to be photographed in their place. This was number 11 on the charts. The next album, The Ventures, in 1961, I Don't Have. Another smash from 1961, I Don't Have. The next one I have by them is Colorful. The Colorful Ventures came out in 1961, charted at number 24. That is number 24. That came out in 1962, January 1962. I mean, these guys were pumping out albums like crazy. This is a variation. This is same like the Twist album, but a later release with a different cover. Mashed Potatoes and Gravy. It was August 1962, number 45 on the charts. Going to the Ventures Dance Party. That was November 1962, 93 on the charts. The Ventures played Telstar. Number 8 on the charts. Surfing. I have the album, but the jacket I've got framed up on the wall. I have a bunch of albums where I have framed the jackets, and the Ventures Surfing is one of them. Surfing came out in May 1963 and was 30th on the charts. Bobby V Meets the Venture. That was June 1st, 1963, 91 on the charts. The next one was the Ventures Play Country Classics, June 1963, 101 on the charts. I don't have that one, and I have no intention of getting it. The next one after that was Let's Go, which I thought I had in my collection. Can't find it right now. That was number 30 on the charts, August 1963. The next one is The Ventures in Space, which is one of my favorite Venture albums. This is really good. Number 27 on the charts, released in January 1964. Excellent. Next one, The Fabulous Ventures, released in July 1964. 32 on the charts. Next one, Walk Don't Run, Volume 2. This time it really is the Ventures on the cover. A bunch of employees from the record company. This one's number 17 on the charts, released October 64. Well, let me grab the next one. Okay, the next one. Knock Me Out. This is February 1965. 31 on the charts. Starting to see a bit of a theme here that you saw if you saw my Roxy Music posting, where putting a pretty girl on the cover. Starting to get into that a bit. Ventures a Go-Go. September 1965, 16 on the charts. The next one was the Christmas album, number 9 on the charts, came in November 1965. So the next one, Where the Action Is, February 1966. Number 33 on the charts. As you know, with the Ventures, most all their stuff is just cover tunes, whatever was ever popular at the time, and most of the albums center around a sort of a theme, like it was the country theme. There's the Twist theme, Go-Go Club themes, whatever. The next one is Batman. This is a very good album too. This one, I don't see many copies of this one sitting around. I think I've ever seen one other copy in a while besides this one. This one's in March 1966, 42 on the charts. This one has a bit of embossed cover as well, textured cover. Next one, Go with the Ventures, June 1966. 39 on the charts. Next one, Wild Things, September 1966. 33 on the charts. So these guys are like releasing an album every 4 months. Next one, Guitar Freakout, February 1967. 57 on the charts. Next one, Super Psychedelic, June 1967. I don't know, this one feels like it might be a gatefold. I think it is. Next one, $1 Million Weekend, December 67. This is now on the Liberty label. Next one, Flights of Fantasy, May 68. Actually, that's a bit of a gap there. Over a year gap. That was 169 on the charts. $1 Million Weekend was 55 on the charts. Next one, The Horse. I don't have that one. And then one after, The Horse came out in August 68. Underground Fire came out in January 69. I don't have that one either. And the big one that everybody knows, of course, Hawaii Five-0, May 69. Number 11 on the charts. Probably one of their biggest hits, one of their most known for. Wipeout and Hawaii Five-0 are probably the two they're most noted for. Ventures, and this one's Swamp Rock. I guess they're probably playing some CCR tunes. Yeah, they are. Green River, Proud Mary. Looking very psychedelic. There on the back. They got 5 guys there. Don't know who the 5th one is. New Testament, April 1971. Don't have that, and actually from that point on, there's a lot of them I don't like. We've got Rock and Roll Forever, which came out in September 72. But before that, there was the theme from Shaft. So, like, by this point, I'm really not too interested in what they're doing, because they went on to do Jim Croce's songbook, The Best of the Carpenters, and all that. And for me, that just didn't cut it with their style. A couple reissues that come out on Sunset, which is sort of like a discount label, I think, for Liberty, like Running Strong with the Ventures. This probably would, I'm not sure if these are taken from other albums or sort of like new stuff that you just couldn't be bothered putting on the Liberty label. Guitar Genius of the Ventures. Actually, I can tell from looking at this. This is from releases from other albums, because the first song on the side one is the Swinging Creeper. That is one of my favorite Venture tunes, and that appeared on one of their much earlier albums. And here's one. This is really good. The live album, live on stage, recorded in Japan, England, United States. If you can find this one, get it. I think you find it on a Flea Market Vinyl Show. Excellent album. There's Whiteout is on this one. Great album. One DVD, Live in Japan, 1990. I don't know if there's a DVD put out of a concert they did in around 1964 or 65 in Japan. That would be amazing. I've seen some footage up on YouTube of their performance in Japan in around 1965, black and white footage, but it is awesome. But I haven't seen it on DVD format yet. This is pretty good too. All their hits are on here. Have a great day, and thank you for watching.